Record. All right, hey guys, welcome to our team Zoom. I am hoping that you watched last week's where we talked about rejection, harder to say than I thought it would be, because today plays right along with it. I actually did them in like backwards order of how the book went, but I felt like it was important to do it that way. So last week we talked about how you can't wait for someone to reject you, because even if you are rejected, if someone says no, it's not like your life changed. It's like people will literally not do something because they're so afraid of being rejected, when in reality nothing will be different. So today we're going to talk about what most people are afraid of doing because of rejection, and that is asking. So it could be asking a million different things, but we're going to talk specifically about the beauty of asking and how if you can take your fear of rejection out of it, which if you watched last week's should be a little bit further past that, and how you can move into like more freely asking people for what you're looking for, what you want in life, etc. So again, I'm pulling a lot of this information out of the book that I'm currently reading. This is a big freaking book. It's like 500 and some pages. So I'm literally just reading a principle at a time to grasp it and go through it slowly. But some of these are really good and I like to share them with you guys. There's also one other thing that I either listened to last week or read, but I can't find it now. So I'm going to loosely reference it here in a little bit, and just know if I do find the resource, I will, I don't know. And I'm kind of hoping it's like a podcast that maybe one of you listened to last week too. And you're like, oh, I heard that story too. But anyway. Okay. So the thing, I got to always wear my glasses too. So it talks about how history is filled with incredible riches and astounding benefits of people who just asked for them. The sad thing about when people are afraid to ask for something is that you're actually rejecting yourself in advance. So if you're like, I'm afraid to ask Samantha if she wants to try my Thrive. I'm afraid to ask Courtney if she wants to come to my local. I'm afraid to ask Kara if she's ever heard of Activate. Well, I'm rejecting myself right off the bat by not asking these people. I'm already like we're making up the stories in our head before it even happens. You're saying no to yourself before anyone even has the chance to say no. So there's actually, he says there's, I guess it's 5 specific things. There's like a science to asking a question. So it says there's a specific science for asking and getting what you want or need in life. Apparently there's an entire book that they have written about it. It's called the Aladdin Factor. Aladdin, like the little guy on the carpet, there's an air. But here are some quick tips from that book. So I'm going to dive into those if you guys are ready. The first one is ask as if you expect to get it. So asking with a positive expectation, ask from a place that you've already been given it. It is a done deal. Ask as if you expect to get a yes. How many times have you been like, do you want to try my Thrive? I know you probably don't. Or you even say, I know the answer is probably no, but would you like to? Okay, well, wow. Why even bother asking the question at that point if you're answering it for someone? So remember how much this product and this company has done for you, what a blessing it's been for your health, what a blessing it's been for your wealth, and go into the conversation that way. Why wouldn't somebody want to try this product that has done so much for you? And why wouldn't you share it? So instead of going in with that backwards, already scared of the answer, already assuming they're going to say no, remind yourself before you even reach out to someone, you know what? They're going to say yes. I already know they're going to say yes. Number 2, assume that you can. So don't start with the assumption that you can't get it. So in other words, if you're asking for the sale, don't assume that you can't get it. If you're going to assume anything, assume that you can get the order, get the upgrade, get the table by the window, return something without your receipt, that you can get the scholarship, you can get the raise. And something I underline that I think is so important, don't ever assume against yourself. And you guys, we do it all the time. We do it all the time. We just assume that they don't want our product, that they don't want to hear what we have to say, that they don't want to read our Facebook post, that they're not going to watch our live. We just assume these things. So we're already assuming against ourselves. Never assume against yourself. Ask someone who can give it to you. So in other words, qualify the person. On occasion, this doesn't happen too much, I don't think, with us, specifically because we're typically talking to a human about their health. But there are times in your life where you're going to ask for something and you're not asking the right person. So, if your kid, case in point, if you've already told your child no to something, so then your kid asks their dad, they're asking the wrong person because they've already been given the answer, right? So remember that. So if it's coming to, I'm trying to think like how this would go, because again, it wouldn't necessarily be customer related for us, but just make sure you're asking the right person. So I think like in the case of a referral, a lot of times we maybe reach out to someone and say, hey, do you know somebody that would be interested in Thrive? And maybe they give us a few people's names. If you don't then take those names and run with them, and you don't take those names and connect with those people, the person to ask to connect you is your current customer. So you're asking the correct person there for the connection. But once you have that connection, don't ask the customer, hey, did Sally decide she wants to order? I don't know, girl. She already hooked you up. You go talk to Sally, right? So again, make sure you're talking to the right person. Here's one that I love. Be clear and specific. So this person says a lot of times in seminars, he will just say, who would like more money? And everyone will raise their hand. So then he will call one person up and be like, here's a quarter. They just said they wanted more money. Nobody really said how much money they wanted, right? So when you're asking for someone, when you're asking for the sale, when you're asking for someone's time, if you're asking for someone's information, be specific about what it is that you want. Would you like to place your order today? Would you like to get started on a full month of Thrive today? Would you like to get started on a full month of Thrive before the end of the week, before the end of the month? Like, be specific. And also notice I'm saying, would you like a full month of Thrive? I'm not saying you want to get the capsules, you want to order Activate, like I'm saying a full month of Thrive. Would you like to speak at our local? Would you like to come and sit at our local? You got to be specific what you're asking, because if someone, and I do this all the time, if someone asks me a question and either I don't understand the question fully or the question is missing some parts and pieces, my gut instinct is no, because I don't know what I'm saying yes to. So the more specific you can be with someone with what you're asking of them or for them, the more educated answer they're going to be able, the more comfortable they're going to feel answering you at all, and the more educated their answer is actually going to be. The fifth thing, and I love this one, and I'm actually going to dive into it for just a little bit longer, is ask repeatedly. And this is something that I struggle with, and I think a lot of you struggle with, because when you get told no the first time, it hurts, right? Like you feel that rejection that we've talked about. And secondly, you don't want to be annoying or the squeaky wheel. But I want to read what he says about that. Get used to the idea that there's going to be a lot of rejection along the way to your goal. The key is to not give up. When someone says no, you keep on asking. Why? Because when you keep on asking, even that same person, you might get a yes on a different day, when the person's in a better mood, when you have new data to present, after you've proven your commitment to them, when circumstances have changed, when you've learned how to close better, when the person trusts you more, when you've paid your dues, when the economy is better. So in other words, all of the reasons that somebody might have said no to you on a Tuesday could completely disappear on a Friday. So if you put yourself in the customer's space, maybe on Tuesday, you threw out a message and said, hey, are you ready to get started with this full month of Thrive today? And maybe they knew they had a doctor's appointment and a bill due. And then maybe on Friday, their paycheck hit, it was better than they thought. The insurance company paid half of that bill early in the week, and now they're feeling totally different about getting a whole month of Thrive. So if you had just taken the no on Tuesday and left it and not continued to talk about it, post about it, share about it, ask about it, you would have missed that opportunity. And I love how he points this out. He says, kids understand the success principle better than anyone. So remember, asking repeatedly is considered a success principle. And a lot of the things that children do, we basically beat out of them until they become adults. And then as an adult, we all try to relearn it again, right? Well, asking repeatedly for what you want is something that a child does naturally. A, because they're not afraid of rejection. B, they're like, well, maybe she's in a better mood today, right? Or C, maybe I cleaned my room, and so now she's going to change her mind. So it's very similar. Like, have you, maybe somebody that you asked to Thrive with you 6 months ago thought it was going to be like a flash in the pan for you, and that it was going to drop off the face of the earth. You guys, I still have almost 8 years later, people like, oh, you still doing that Thrive thing? Yes, as a matter of fact, I am. Are you ready to try that now? Like, because they thought it wasn't going to last, or it would disappear, or it was going to turn my eyes purple, whatever. So he talks about how kids understand this better than anyone. They will ask the same person for the same thing over and over again without hesitation. They will eventually wear you down. He said he actually read a story one time in People magazine about a man who asked a woman to marry him 30 times before she finally said yes. And if any of you follow Grant Cardone, I know that his wife Elaine has talked about how Grant pursued her repeatedly. And she had to like see over the years that he was serious, that he, all that stuff before she finally said yes. So let's talk about a telling statistic. And I know I've heard different versions of this over the years about like how many times it takes to get to a yes or take to a no, but I'm just going to give you one that actually came, like he refers to it. It came out of a marketing study that was done at Notre Dame. 44% of all salespeople will quit trying to sell a prospect after the first call. So 44% of people just get a no and they quit. They never put that name back on their follow-up list. 24% will quit after a second call. 14% after the third. 12% quit trying to sell their prospect after a fourth call. This means that 94% of all salespeople quit by the fourth call. But 60% of sales are made after the fourth call. So the 6% of salespeople that hang in there make 60% of all the selling that happens. Like, if that doesn't tell you have to hang on, it says this revealing statistic shows that 94% of all the salespeople don't give themselves the 60% chance of prospective buyers. You may have the capacity to ask the question, but you have to have the tenacity to ask the question. To be successful, you have to ask one of, and he says one of his students recently said that it's to become an ask hole. I've always heard of ask hole, like asshole, somebody who just asks you questions and never pays attention to what you're actually saying. But anyway, I thought that was an interesting one. So he actually has, well, I'll do this in a sec. There's some like action steps that he recommends that you do. So we'll get to those. But before we do that, I have one more example. And this is the one that I cannot for the life of me remember where I heard it, but I know I just heard it because I was like, oh, that is perfect for our topic this week. But now I can't find it. But anyway, this is, and if any of you are like, oh, I heard that this week too on a podcast or something, please tell me. So whoever I was listening to or reading was saying how Home Depot did a lot of, like businesses are always checking their numbers and seeing like where the sales are coming from. Are people buying things online? Are they doing it on the floor? Yada, yada. Well, obviously for a company like Home Depot, they have online sales. They have in-person sales right in the store with a human at the cash register. And then they have the automatic checkout. So what they discovered between the human sales and the automatic checkout, even if you had worked with a salesperson directly for a couple of weeks, looking at the washer and dryer or looking at your new refrigerator or looking at your new furnace or whatever it is you were going, like big pieces that you were going to buy from Home Depot. When someone bought that online or through auto checkout, they sold like 70% more home warranty or warranties on the product because the computer automatically asked. The human would forget to ask or decide not to ask because they didn't want to lose the sale. But the computer just asked. It doesn't care who you are. It has a job to do. It asks you the question, and they would sell 70% more simply because the question was asked. So how can you use that in your business? When you are talking to someone about placing their order, we can actually go lots of directions. You could do, we're going to put your order in. Would you like to add balance? Like pick a plus line. Would you like to add this plus line to enhance XYZ? Since we're ordering, do you want to go ahead and upgrade this to a couples pack so that you and your partner, like there are things that you could just automatically ask. And something that I think that is something I don't ask enough, and it does need to become automatic. Maybe I need to write it everywhere so I see it. But when someone is like, I get so excited when someone says yes to Thrive, like so I'm giddy. Like, oh my gosh, like they're doing it. We're going to place it. I'm just, oh my gosh, they're going to do it. I get so excited. I don't think to say, hey, before we get this order in, who else do you think would like to try Thrive? If you can shoot me 2 names, I might be able to get you 10% off, or I might be able to get an extra, I don't know, like whatever, make it up. It's your business. Do what you want. But I should automatically be asking for a referral, right? That our business is built on referrals. Word of mouth is the best way to get someone to trust and buy into something with their health and wellness. And I'm not asking for it enough. So think in your mind, what are you asking for enough? And make that part of your system. So when it becomes automatic, so again, think of that auto checkout. It's not afraid. It doesn't know that it's Julie, and that Julie got hit with some unexpected bills this week, and that Julie got burnt on a home warranty one time years ago, and that Julie thinks that warranties are a ripoff. It doesn't know that. It doesn't care. It says, in addition to paying for this product right now, would you like to add the warranty? Julie can say yes or no. It ain't going to hurt its feelings. If she says yes, great, they make more money. If she says no, they move on with the next person, right? And so if you can start looking at your transactions in that type of system, that systematical thinking of, hey, I always ask before I get someone started on Thrive, who else do you know? Because it's so much better when you can thrive with friends. It's so much better when you can thrive with family. I always ask before I check someone out, or before someone places that order, who else could we talk to about Thrive? If you can get into that kind of mentality, think how much faster your business could grow. So there's two things there. One, it's the automatic asking, and two, it's it's not worrying about the answer. Like not getting focused on the yes or the no there, but just making sure that you've asked the question. So I'm going to remind myself to be like, as much as I hate automatic checkouts, I'm going to start to pretend I'm an automatic checkout with people. Okay, so let's go through the homework that he says he thinks people should do. Okay, it's called Start Asking Now. Take time to make a list of the things you want that you don't ask for at home, at school, at work, like name your places, right? So, so let's say, okay. So let's say at work, you wanted to ask for a raise. All right. So next to each item that you've written down, write down how you are stopping yourself. Like, what is the fear? So, let's say you want to ask for a raise, but you're afraid that's going to tick your boss off, right? Now, next to that, write down what it's costing you not to ask. Well, I don't know. I'm just making up numbers here. Let's say that you could earn another $1,000 a year. Is that worth ticking your boss off? Possibly. I don't know, right? Write down the benefit you would get if you were to ask. So we're gonna pick something that we want that we've not been asking for, whether it's at home, at work, maybe with a customer, maybe with a team member, maybe with an upline, a downline, a sideline, right? Something that you want to ask for that you've not been asking. Next to it, admit to yourself, why am I not asking for this? Next to that, what would happen if I did ask for this? And start realizing that asking is going to be way, way more important. The benefit is far going to outweigh what's scaring you to ask. All right. And then he also says to make a list of what you need to ask for in the following categories. I'm going to read these off slow so you can jot them down. These are what there's a whole part of this book that's dedicated to this, but number one, financial. Number two is your job or your career. Number three is fun time or recreation or date night, like whatever you want to call that. 4 is health and wellness. 5 is your relationships. 6 is your personal projects or hobbies. And 7 is the contribution to your larger community. So let's give an example. So we're going to ask, so what is something that you might be thinking that you want to ask for financially? So maybe you need to ask financially for someone to, I don't know, maybe you've got a baby daddy and he's not given money, or maybe you've got a parent who owes you money back. Like there's all kinds of things in the financial world that you might need to ask for. Job and career, maybe you need to ask for the sale. Maybe you need to ask for the raise. Maybe you need to ask for the mentoring. You need to ask for the training. Fun times and recreation. Maybe you just need to ask someone out. Maybe, and that could be like asking your girlfriend to lunch or asking your husband to dinner, or asking a friend to try something new. Maybe you want to try something new. Health and wellness. Maybe you need to ask a buddy to do something with you. Maybe you really want to get rolling, but you're nervous and scared and you need some motivation. So you need to ask somebody. Maybe you need to ask in your relationship, more quiet time, more connection time. Maybe you need to ask for respect. Maybe you have a relationship that's not going well. Someone's not giving you the respect that you need. Personal projects and hobbies, like maybe you need help moving something. Maybe you need help, like, I don't know, I think of my hobbies, they tend to go to the Home Depot, which is funny. We had that conversation, but like maybe I need to borrow someone's truck, or I need to borrow someone's muscle to, help me go pick something up. Contributions to the larger community. So that could be like asking for donations for something, asking for volunteers for something. But take the time to make the list, because here's the thing: the things that you want to ask for, the reason in your heart and your brain that you want to ask for them is because it's what would take you to the next level in whatever category it is. But your fear of rejection is what's holding you back. And like I said, we talked about rejection last week, so you could refer to that in that moment. So think about those things, and then make a commitment to yourself to start asking. So whether it becomes like for me, my commitment to myself is I want it to be more of a systematical approach. Because I love being able to talk to people about their order and being bold with asking them if they're ready. But then I need to take it to the next step of being bold and systematical about, okay, hey, we got your order in. Now, who else do you know needs to thrive? Because it's so much more fun when you do it together, right? Like when I say that to you, it seems so natural and easy to say, but I don't hear myself saying it to my customers, right? So what is something that you want to commit to in your business that you need to ask for, whether maybe it's support from your partner, maybe it's I need to ask my family to give me 20 minutes every night of quiet time, while I work whatever it is, ask. Because remember, if you aren't asking, you are rejecting yourself before anyone else can. Maybe somebody's like, no, my husband's going to flip his lid if I tell him that I need to spend 30 minutes in the spare bedroom by myself tonight. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. Right? You don't actually know that yet. Maybe if you just say, and this goes back to being specific, I need to spend 30 minutes in the spare bedroom tonight because I need it to be quiet, because I'm going to be talking to 3 different people that want to get started on the Thrive experience, which would then help me get the VIP 400 bonus that's going to bring $200. That's being specific. I'm asking you for this time. I want to be in this room because this is the result that I'm after, versus I just need 30 minutes, right? Like that's just me coming out. How many times you're like, I just need 30 minutes. Like, oh my gosh, I just need 30 minutes, right? Whereas that's like, well, hey, bitch, don't we all need 30 minutes? Versus, okay, she needs 30 minutes because she got 3 people to talk to because we are chasing this bonus, right? Like there's a very big difference in how you're asking that. And so think about that too. When you're talking to a customer about their Thrive experience, I really want to know if you're ready to get started on a month of Thrive, because everything we've been talking about, in 30 days, it could be totally different. You could be sleeping better at night. You could be, working on your weight loss plan. You could be whatever it is that they've expressed that they wanted. So you're still asking for the sale, but in a much more specific manner that helps them understand why you're asking for it. It's not always like, hey, let's get you started because I have a promo code. I mean, those are awesome to have, but hey, let's get you started so that by your spring break trip, you're feeling better. Or hey, let's get you started because by St. Patty's Day, or I don't know, whatever, you want to make these changes with your health, whatever it is that they told you, give them the specifics of why you're asking, of how it's going to benefit them, not you, right? Please don't ever say, let's get you started because I'm shooting for a bonus. Please, for the love of Pete, never say that. Okay, anyway, I hope this was helpful. If anyone comes across the story about the Home Depot auto checkouts, let me know. And if I even looked through my podcast real quick, my list, if I come across it, I will send it to you guys, because it was obviously much better explained than what I did. But I do think it's a very powerful thing to remember when you're not afraid to ask. 70% more people said yes to that because no one was afraid to ask for it. So here we are back at the whole get out of your way conversation, right? All right, guys, if you need to revisit this or want to share it with anyone on your team, it'll be up on my YouTube. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.